Hello YouTube, Glutton Mage here. Today is going to be a companion video, if you will, to my Justice in the Commonwealth series. This may become a series, I don't know. Some people don't like heavy or hardcore roleplay. I like that kind of stuff, but if you don't, maybe this companion videos that I'm doing will help. You might like these instead. So we'll see how it goes. Starting off with the mods that I'm going to be using for Justice in the Commonwealth series. Starting off with the unofficial patch. Obviously, most of these mods are self-explanatory. Obviously this one. The Silver Shroud mod that I'm using here is going to help with the problems that some people have in the vanilla. When you get the armor, for example, and maybe you're too high or too low, and you go on do other things and didn't make it back to get the full armor sets or something like that, this kind of allows you to get it in the chest. So, over at Kent's place. This is probably the biggest mod right here. Liberty Reborn Minuteman Overhaul. Now, for those of us who've played the normal mode and survival mode in vanilla, the Minutemen just... there are so many problems with the Minutemen in vanilla mode, and one of the biggest problems I think a lot of us have is you're level 15 or so or higher, right? And you're going to go clear out a place, and you want the Minutemen to come and help you, right? Use the flare, and they're level 5 max tops, maybe level 1. They're carrying simple gear, and they're in an area that is level 15 or higher against gunners. They're going to get slaughtered. Maybe you're in an area where there's a death claw just down the road, maxed death claw, legendary, and the Minutemen are patrolling behind you, heading towards the death claw. And they have basic gear, they have basic weapons, they have basic everything, and you're just like, oh boy. Or they're in an area where they just get surrounded by gunners, and again, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the team to take on the gunners, even though by that point they should. But so this mod fixes that and allows you to actually accomplish that, to actually see the improvements of the Minutemen as you level up. Now there's other mods like what is it, militarized Minutemen, which is an excellent mod. Either one of that one or this one. I picked this one mainly because it fits more of the universe of the Fallout universe, while the militarized one is more of almost too realistic, if you will, kind of from our world, not the world of Fallout universe. The Minuteman Morale Pack mod is a mod that I think Bruce, coming from the time period that he came from, boosting up morale, having posters of inspiration and, propaganda posters and stuff like that fits the kind of character that Bruce would be. Companion accuracy enhancement mod, pretty much self-explanatory. This really helps Preston and Piper, if you have them, for example, where Piper's shooting around the corner and you gave her a maxed out 10mm, and she's like a stormtrooper from Star Wars, where every 5 shots is a miss and she finally hits on the 6th one, and it's like, really? This fixes that. This is my bed, self-explanatory. If you've played vanilla, you know that as you put down the beds, the settlers come and just assign themselves to the nearest unassigned bed. This allows at least one bed in your settlement to be yours. Self-explanatory. Again, this one here is also self-explanatory. Journal of the Soul Survivor. For those of us who remember Doogie Howser MD, who are old enough to remember that, at the end of every episode, Doogie would type in what he did that day, a little summary of what he did. I kind of like that idea. I may either do that at the beginning of every episode or at the end of every episode. We'll see how this goes. Ballistic Weave, just to have Ballistic Weave at the get-go, was mainly for my merchants at the settlements, because I don't want to put everyone in the settlement to have armor, right? This just allows my clerks and my doctors and stuff like that to still dress like a doctor, to still dress like a merchant and wear a suit, and they can just have basic protection when the settlement gets attacked. So again, not many mods. You know, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mods? 8, you know. So besides the mods, there's people I want to thank. YouTubers I want to thank. Starting off with the biggest inspiration for the Justice in the Commonwealth series, and that is Wasteland Dovahkiin for her hardcore survival RP series that she's got out there. In fact, I think that's only a year old at this point. But I just got done watching where her character just got done with Kellogg, and it's brilliant. Watching that character go from the intro all the way to where she is, where I saw her dealing with Kellogg. It's absolutely brilliant. So Wasteland Dovahkiin, thank you for being a massive inspiration for Justice in the Commonwealth series. Your hardcore survival RP, I love it. SarDeliac is another YouTuber that I want to give a big thanks to. His Settlements in Survival series, which is like, what, 5 years old at this point? I played Fallout on the Xbox One before I did it on PC, which is what this is. And at first, survival mode was kind of scary. You know, I didn't try it at first when it, you know, first launched to the consoles from PC. And I avoided it. And I avoided it for a while until I finally watched Settlements in Survival, and then I tried it, and it's absolutely brilliant. Another YouTuber I want to thank for the way I tend to build my settlements is School Zone. He has a series of settlement build guides in the School Zone. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to try to leave a link for these people down in the descriptions below. I tend to also play theme builds anytime I play a Bethesda game, because I'm a Dungeons and Dragons dungeon master, so a DM, and I just love it when characters and players stick to their background and stick to the way they play, the way their character would play, rather than, you know, completing everything and maxing out every skill and maxing out every ability and, you know, becoming a power player. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the way you prefer to play. Like, for example, there's some people who like playing Skyrim or playing any Bethesda game where they just max out every skill, right? They max out every perk. They max out every guild or every faction, like joining, you know, the Mage Guild and the Companion and the, you know, Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood, and they become master of all of those. How does that work exactly? How is that RP? It's OP, but it isn't RP. That's the difference. And Fudge Muppet, in my opinion, is probably the best. Those guys do the best theme builds out there to date. They're fantastic at doing because they do background, they do, they go over why they pick the perks that they did to fit the theme of the character. And that is absolutely brilliant. So Fudge Muppet, thank you for your series, and I hope you guys keep going doing what you do. And there's other YouTubers I can mention, like Oxhorns, Ninja Flips, and there's others out there. I can't think of them at the moment. But let's continue. So, like I mentioned, some people don't like heavy RP. And so maybe this companion videos that I'm going to plan on doing alongside the RP is going to be like behind the scenes of Bruce, right? So his tactics. So these videos, these companion videos to the Justice in the Commonwealth series will show you like tours of my settlements and maybe my building tactics. Now, for those of you who are fans of SarDeliac, and maybe SarDeliac, if he ever watches this, is probably smiling and laughing right now, because SarDeliac has a video series of his mega build in Fallout 4, and these two buildings here are practically, I stole them from that video tour that he did. So SarDeliac, here you go, man. An exact, well, maybe not exact, you didn't use these bits, but for most part it's practically exactly like the way he did his, with some differences. This building here, this building was really easy to put together. Like, you can probably see how it was put together just by me walking through here. It was really easy. I think the only slightly difficult part was putting this so close to the wall. In his build, he has the giant satellite that you get near the end of the main story, when you go and deal with the Institute, and however your character is going to deal with the Institute. I decided to use these instead because the Bruce isn't that far in the story. But I think, in my own headcanon, the way these have 3 of these on each, and why Preston pushes you so hard to put these at every settlement, is I think that these 2 right here is for you, and this big one and out, and this one you receive signals, or maybe it's the other way around, I'm not really sure. One of these 2 is the broadcast and the other one's the receiver. And this one here is probably for the Minutemen, when that way they can communicate. So it's a communication satellite. Or at least that's how it is in my headcanon. I'm not sure if that's how they designed it, but that's how I'm going to roleplay it as in Bruce's story. That's why I put it there. So this is going to be the communications room. And yes, I'm probably going to design it in a similar fashion that SarDeliac did once I get done with Vault 88. But that's later on in the game. So I hope SarDeliac's enjoying this bit right here, because literally this whole thing is from his video. This is my own little base here from the roleplay. If you want to see how I put these in here, you can leave a comment down below if you want. It's really easy. It's not that hard. You can probably figure it out yourself. It was really easy. Once you figure it out, it's cake. I mean, this is easy. This is just me throwing stuff in here. Alright, moving on. So, I think what these videos are going to be focused on is the tactics I'm going to be using for Bruce, such as turning red rocket into a depot, which I'm going to go do right now. I highly recommend, if you're doing settlements, this game is what, 7 years old now at this point, pushing 7, going on to 7, I'm not sure. It's pretty old. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this into a I don't ever use Red Rocket as a settlement. I did that in the very beginning when I first got Fallout 4, before survival mode was here, and oh dear God, was that the worst mistake I ever did in this game. And yes, you're seeing me scrap everything, like everything. Doesn't matter what it is, it's gone. And yes, I'm scrapping all of this, all of this. Yep. Dog's in the way. Silly dog. And the reason why I do that, dog. And the reason for this tactic is, I know many of you already know this, because this game is what, 6-7 years old at this point. But if you turned this into a settlement, then it's going to get attacked. Then Abernathy is going to get attacked. Then Sanctuary is going to get attacked. Starlight's going to get attacked. Ten Pines is going to get attacked. All of those settlements are going to get attacked, and you're going to be busy running around at some point trying to help each settlement. And that's just a pain. It's a headache. So turning a depot and then taking everything from the nearby settlements from the workbench and dropping it off here. Now the reason why I do that, and once you have provisioners, you still have access to all the scrap and all the building materials, which again, you probably already know this. But for those of you who haven't tried this game yet, this game is a lot of fun, even though it's, what, 6-7 years old at this point, which this is like the third time I said that. Please don't make this into a drinking game. And if you do, drink responsibly. It's a joke. That was a joke. Bad joke. Moving on. So I'm going to scrap the rest of this. And then I'm just going to have like boxes in here as just a decoration. And the cool thing about putting random boxes, I forgot to throw him. So another tip is you want to move the dead from your settlements and get them outside of your settlement building, because as you notice, these little blood flies will develop and they will not leave. So even after I move this body, those flies that are hanging around, they're there forever now. So once you clear out a settlement, move the dead out of your building zone. That's just another helpful tactic to share for you guys. And again, I'm not talking to the ones who are pros at this game at this point, but for those of you who may be new to the game, there you go. Here's the outfit from Liberty. I love the way this looks. Now, one of the downsides to this mod is sometimes gunners will have this outfit, which in my headcanon kind of works, because that means that the gunner probably took out a Minuteman somewhere. So that's kind of where I go with that. I'm going to do more of these using companions and the tactics I use for companions. You guys probably already know this. You probably already know all the different companion tactics that are out there already from other YouTubers. But I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. So one of the things I use for companions is turning off landmines, which I may show in another video and talk about that in another video, and how useful companions can be in survival mode when you equip them right and understand how that character works in combat. Alright, I have been Galantry Mage, and this is my first companion video for my series, my roleplay series. Like and subscribe and all of that jazz. Leave comments down below for any useful ideas or anything that you want me to put in my videos. This has been Galantry Mage. Have a good one.